The coin bearing the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," "E Pluribus Unum," and "United States of America," with the date 1941, is most commonly identified as the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Cent, one of the most recognizable and historically rich coins in American numismatics. This coin was minted during a significant period in world history, just before the United States formally entered World War II, and it reflects both the artistic legacy and economic conditions of its time. The 1941 cent belongs to the Lincoln Wheat series, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It marked a major shift in American coinage, as it was the first regular U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of symbolic imagery. On the obverse front of the 1941 coin, you will find a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The word "liberty" appears to the left of Lincoln's profile, while the phrase "In God We Trust" is inscribed along the upper rim. The year 1941 is positioned to the right of the portrait. This design emphasizes dignity and simplicity, reflecting Lincoln's legacy as a symbol of unity, freedom, and perseverance. Brenner's initials, VDB, can be found subtly at the base of the reverse on some versions, though they were controversial when first introduced in 1909. The reverse, back of the coin, features two stylized wheat ears, curving along the left and right edges, giving the series its popular name Wheat Penny. Between these wheat stalks, the denomination 1 cent is prominently displayed, with United States of America beneath it. Above the denomination appears the Latin motto, E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the states. The wheat design represents agricultural prosperity and the importance of farming in the American economy, especially during the early 20th century, when agriculture was a major part of national life. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Cent was composed primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. The coin was produced at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of these coins, with over 887 million minted, making it one of the more common coins in the Wheat Penny series. The Denver Mint struck around 128 million coins, while the San Francisco Mint produced approximately 92 million coins. Because of these large mintages, the 1941 penny is generally not considered rare, but its historical context and collectible appeal make it highly desirable among coin enthusiasts. In terms of condition and value, the worth of a 1941 penny can vary widely depending on its grade. Circulated coins that show wear are typically inexpensive and may only be worth a few cents above face value. However, uncirculated coins with strong luster and minimal imperfections can command higher prices, especially those graded by professional services. Coins with original red coloration, referred to as red or RD by collectors, are particularly prized, as copper coins tend to darken over time due to oxidation. High-grade specimens from the San Francisco Mint are often more valuable due to their relatively lower mintage. Historically, the year 1941 was a turning point for the United States, as it marked the lead-up to involvement in World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of that year. Coins minted during this period are often seen as tangible links to that era, reflecting the economic and industrial buildup that would soon intensify. Interestingly, in the years following 1941, the composition of the penny changed due to wartime shortages of copper. In 1943, for example, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel instead of copper, making the 1941 copper cent one of the last issues before this significant transition. Collectors often seek 1941 pennies, not only for their historical significance, but also as part of completing a full Lincoln Wheat Cent collection. These coins are relatively easy to find, making them accessible for beginner collectors, yet they still offer opportunities for advanced collectors to hunt for high-grade or error varieties. Some known varieties include double dyes or minor minting errors, though these are less common, and can significantly increase a coin's value if authenticated. In summary, the 1941 "In God We Trust, Liberty, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America" coin is a classic example of American coinage, that combines artistry, history, and symbolism. It represents a nation on the brink of global conflict while still honoring the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the ideals of unity and faith. Whether viewed as a collectible item, a historical artifact, or simply a piece of everyday currency from the past, the 1941 Lincoln wheat cent remains an enduring and meaningful coin in the world of numismatics. The coin bearing the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," "E Pluribus Unum," "United States of America," and the date 1946 is most commonly recognized as the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent, an important and historically meaningful piece of United States coinage. This coin belongs to the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958 and remains one of the most widely collected coin series in the world. The 1946 issue is especially notable because it was struck immediately after the end of World War II, representing a period of recovery, renewal, and transition for the United States. As such, this coin is not only a piece of currency, but also a small metallic witness to a pivotal moment in global history. On the obverse front of the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent, there is a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This portrait was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has remained one of the most iconic images in American numismatics. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," reflecting the country's long-standing spiritual and cultural values. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the word "Liberty," symbolizing freedom and democratic ideals, while the date 1946 appears on the right side. The overall design is simple, yet powerful, emphasizing dignity and national pride. The placement of these inscriptions creates a balanced composition that has been admired by collectors and historians alike for decades. The reverse, back of the coin features the classic wheat design, which gives the coin its popular name, wheat penny. Two wheat stalks curve inward along the edges, framing the central inscriptions. At the top is the Latin motto, "E Pluribus Unum," meaning out of many, one, which represents the unity of the American states. In the center, the denomination OneCent is prominently displayed, with United States of America written below it. The wheat ears symbolize agricultural abundance and the importance of farming to the nation's economy, especially during the early and mid-20th century. This design remained in use until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1946 Lincoln wheat cent was struck in 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia mint produced the largest number, with over 991 million coins minted, making it one of the most common wheat pennies. The Denver mint produced approximately 315 million coins, while the San Francisco mint struck around 198 million. Due to these high mintages, the 1946 penny is generally not considered rare, but it remains highly collectible due to its historical significance and its place within the beloved wheat cent series. In terms of composition, the 1946 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, returning to the traditional bronze alloy after the war-type steel cents of 1943. The coin weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. This return to copper composition reflects the end of wartime material shortages and a shift back to peacetime production. The coin's reddish-brown color, especially in well-preserved examples, is a defining characteristic that collectors often evaluate when determining value. The value of a 1946 Lincoln wheat cent depends largely on its condition and mint mark. Circulated examples are very common and typically worth only a small premium over face value. However, coins in uncirculated condition, especially those with original red luster, known as red or RD coins, can be significantly more valuable. Coins graded at higher levels by professional grading services can fetch premium prices, particularly if they are free from marks, scratches, or discoloration. The San Francisco issues are sometimes slightly more valuable due to their relatively lower mintage compared to Philadelphia and Denver. From a historical perspective, the 1946 penny represents a nation emerging from the devastation of World War II. It symbolizes a return to normalcy and economic stability after years of conflict and rationing. During this time, the United States was transitioning into a global superpower, and everyday objects like coins carry subtle reminders of resilience and unity. Collectors often appreciate the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent not just for its design, but also for its connection to this important era in history. In the world of numismatics, the 1946 wheat penny is considered an essential part of any Lincoln cent collection. Its accessibility makes it a great starting point for beginner collectors, while its historical context and potential for high-grade specimens keep it interesting for more advanced enthusiasts. Some collectors also search for error coins or varieties within this year, such as doubled dies or off-center strikes, which can increase the coin's rarity and value. In conclusion, the 1946 In God We Trust, Liberty e Pluribus Unum, United States of America coin is a classic and meaningful example of American coinage. It reflects a time of hope and rebuilding following World War II, while continuing the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the enduring values of the United States. Whether viewed as a collectible, a historical artifact, or a simple piece of currency, the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent holds a lasting place in the hearts of collectors and historians around the world. The coin bearing the inscriptions, In God We Trust, Liberty, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the date 1958, is recognized as the 1958 Lincoln wheat cent, a historically significant and highly collectible piece in American numismatics. This coin represents the final year of the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, which had been in continuous production since 1909. As such, the 1958 issue marks the end of an era in U.S. coinage, making it especially meaningful to collectors and historians alike. It captures the closing chapter of a design that had become deeply embedded in American culture for nearly half a century. On the obverse front of the 1958 Lincoln wheat cent, there is the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and was groundbreaking when first introduced, as it was the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regular U.S. circulating coin. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, In God We Trust, which reflects the nation's spiritual heritage and values. To the left of the portrait is the word liberty, symbolizing freedom and democratic ideals, while the date 1958 is positioned to the right. The design is elegant and balanced, emphasizing both simplicity and dignity, and it remained unchanged throughout the wheat cent series. The reverse, back of the coin features the classic wheat design, which gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. Two wheat ears curve inward along the edges, framing the central inscriptions. At the top appears the Latin motto, E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many one, a phrase that captures the unity of the United States. In the center is the denomination OneCent, boldly displayed, with United States of America written below it. The wheat stalks symbolize agricultural prosperity and the importance of farming in the nation's history. This reverse design was retired after 1958 and replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design, making the 1958 coin the last of its kind. The 1958 Lincoln wheat cent was minted at 2 U.S. military majors. Mint facilities, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 252 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck approximately 800 million coins, making the 1958 D one of the most abundant wheat pennies ever produced. Because of these large mintages, the coin is generally not considered rare in circulated condition. However, its status as the final year of the series adds a special level of interest and desirability among collectors. In terms of composition, the 1958 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, maintaining the traditional bronze alloy used for most Lincoln cents before 1982. The coin weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Its surface typically exhibits a reddish or brownish tone, depending on its level of preservation and exposure to the environment. Coins that retain their original bright red luster are particularly valued and are often referred to as red, RD, by collectors. The value of a 1958 Lincoln wheat cent depends largely on its condition, color, and mint mark. Circulated examples are very common and usually worth only a small premium above face value. However, uncirculated coins in excellent condition especially those with full red color and minimal imperfections, can be worth significantly more. One of the most famous and rare varieties associated with this year is the 1958 doubled die obverse, an extremely rare error coin where the inscriptions appear doubled due to a minting mistake. Only a few examples of this variety are known, and they are considered some of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered, fetching very high prices at auctions. From a historical perspective, the year 1958 was a time of economic growth and cultural change in the United States. It was the late 1950s, a period marked by post-war prosperity, technological advancement, and the early stages of the space race. The 1958 wheat penny reflects this era of optimism and stability, while also serving as a farewell to a classic coin design that had witnessed decades of American history, including 2 world wars and the Great Depression. Collectors often view the 1958 Lincoln wheat cent as an essential piece for completing a full set of wheat pennies. Its significance as the final issue in the series makes it a symbolic and emotional addition to any collection. While it may be common in lower grades, the challenge of finding high-quality specimens or rare varieties keeps the coin relevant and exciting within the numismatic community. In conclusion, the 1958 In God We Trust Liberty E Pluribus Unum United States of America coin is far more than just a simple 1-cent piece. It represents the culmination of a historic coin series embodying nearly 50 years of American tradition, artistry, and history. As the last Lincoln wheat cent ever minted, it holds a special place in the world of coin collecting, serving as both a tangible link to the past and a cherished artifact of American heritage. The coin bearing the inscriptions In God We Trust, Liberty, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the date 1957, is known as the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Cent, one of the final issues in the long-running and historically important Lincoln Wheat Penny series. This coin represents a late stage in a design that had already become deeply familiar to generations of Americans, having first been introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. By 1957, the wheat cent had already witnessed decades of American history, including the Great Depression and World War II, and it continued to circulate widely during a time of post-war prosperity and social change in the United States. On the obverse front of the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent is the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait is notable for its realism and simplicity, capturing Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression. Above his head appears the national motto, In God We Trust, reflecting the country's long-standing spiritual and cultural identity. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the word liberty, symbolizing freedom and democratic ideals, while the date 1957 is placed to the right. The design is clean and balanced, making it one of the most enduring images in American coinage. Brenner's initials VDB, which had caused controversy when first introduced in 1909, can be found subtly on the coin, though they are small and often overlooked by casual observers. The reverse, back of the 1957 coin features the classic wheat design that gives the series its nickname, the Wheat Penny. 2 wheat ears frame the central text, curving inward from the left and right edges. At the top is the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many one, which represents the unity of the states. In the center is the denomination OneCent, boldly displayed, and below it is United States of America. The wheat stalks symbolize agricultural strength and prosperity, reflecting the importance of farming in the nation's economy during the early and mid-20th century. This reverse design remained in use until 1958, making the 1957 issue one of the last coins to feature this iconic imagery, before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1957 Lincoln wheat cent was minted at 2 primary facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which produced coins with a D mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 282 million coins, while the Denver Mint produced approximately 1.05 billion coins, making the 1957 D one of the most widely produced wheat pennies in the entire series. Because of these high mintages, the coin is generally common and easily found in circulated condition. However, its place near the end of the wheat cent series gives it added appeal among collectors who seek to complete a full set. In terms of composition, the 1957 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, following the traditional bronze alloy used for most Lincoln cents prior to 1982. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Its color can range from bright red to reddish brown or dark brown, depending on its level of preservation and exposure to environmental factors. Coins that retain their original red luster are particularly desirable and are often classified as red RD by collectors, while those that have toned over time are labeled red-brown RB or brown BN. The value of a 1957 Lincoln wheat cent depends largely on its condition, color, and mint mark. Circulated examples are very common and typically worth only a few cents above face value. However, uncirculated coins in high grades, especially those with full red coloration and minimal imperfections, can command higher prices in the collector market. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties from this year is the 1957 double die obverse. This era coin features noticeable doubling in the inscriptions, particularly in the date and the word Liberty. It is one of the most popular era coins among collectors and can be quite valuable, especially in well-preserved condition. Historically, the year 1957 was part of a period of economic growth and cultural development in the United States. It was a time marked by technological advancements, suburban expansion, and the early stages of the space race. Coins like the 1957 wheat pennies circulated widely during this era, serving as everyday currency while quietly reflecting the nation's stability and progress. Although small and often overlooked, these coins are tangible artifacts of their time, connecting modern collectors to the daily lives of people in the 1950s. From a numismatic perspective, the 1957 Lincoln wheat cent holds an important place as one of the final issues before the series ended in 1958. Collectors often seek this coin as part of a complete wheat penny collection, and it serves as a bridge between the classic wheat design and the modern Lincoln cent designs that followed. Its accessibility makes it a popular choice for beginner collectors, while the possibility of finding high-grade examples or rare era varieties keeps it interesting for more experienced enthusiasts. In conclusion, the 1957 In God We Trust, Liberty e Pluribus Unum United States of America coin is a classic and meaningful example of American coinage. It combines historical significance, artistic simplicity, and widespread availability, making it a cornerstone of the Lincoln wheat cent series. As one of the last coins to feature the beloved wheat design, it represents the closing years of an era, while continuing to honor the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the enduring values of unity, liberty, and faith that defined the United States.